You recall who was driving the Pilot that night?
Jack Snyder.
Okay. And do you recall, if you can, who was in the front passenger seat?
I don't recall. I just saw the powder blue in the front and back.
Okay. And you said about 5 minutes that interaction went on?
Yeah, a few.
And at some point in time, did something happen between your group of friends and the Snyder vehicle group of friends?
Yeah, they're talking back and forth, and then collectively people start like holding onto the roof racks and shaking it back and forth.
So your group started shaking the car? Okay. And what else, excuse me, what else happened during that?
The car was on, so once that started happening, they put it in drive and drove forward and had to like hop out of the way a little bit, and they sped down the road.
So you had to hop out of the way when the car drove down the road?
Yeah.
How was it being operated, if you recall?
Speeding, I guess.
And when you say it went down the road, it took off towards Farmhouse?
Farmhouse, yes.
Okay. And when it took off down the road towards Farmhouse, what, if anything, did you observe at that point?
What happens after they drive away is they continue to drive back and forth from the Rich's house, like up and down the road.
So they're driving in State 49 up and back down Laurel Glen?
Yeah, I'm not exactly positive if they hit a U-turn or
If you see, it's like a square, so I don't really remember if they drove the square or
if they just busted a U-turn and came back and forth.
But they came back and forth.
They crossed the house multiple times.
Okay,
yes.
and when they crossed the house multiple times, what, if anything, did you observe people from the car doing?
They were throwing things at us, we were throwing things at them.
What kind of things were they throwing at you?
I believe there was a WD-40 can, like a water jug of some sort.
Okay, and when those things were thrown at you guys, what, if anything, did you observe your group of friends do?
Throw it back.
You threw it back at them, okay. Did you witness anybody throw anything and hit the car?
I don't recall if anyone hit the car.
Are you aware if the car was hit with anything?
I'm not sure, no.
Okay. And at some point in time, did they stop driving back and forth in front of Tyler Rich's house?
Yes.
Okay. And when they stopped doing that, what, if anything, did you observe as to where the car went?
they had moved towards where Farmhouse Lane is and stopped the car up like on the corner of it.
So for the jury's and the record's benefit, this is States 1. If we're looking at States 1, they're somewhere in the area of the intersection of Farmhouse and Laurel Glen?
Yes.
Okay. And would you say they were in front? Did you see them in front of this house, or was it more towards the intersection?
I was far away, so
You couldn't tell exactly, but they were in this area?
Yeah, in that vicinity.
And Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness was saying they were in the area of the intersection of Farmhouse Road and 36th Road.
It's noted, thank you.
And when you were down the road, when you saw them, the car stop down the road, did you observe anything about the occupants of the car?
I think two of them had gotten out.
Okay. And could you see who got out of the car?
No, I could not see specifically.
Okay. And when you noticed those individuals get out of the car, what if anything, did you observe next?
Two of my friends, maybe more, but Ricky and Tyler began walking down to go speak with them.
And when you say Ricky, you mean Ricky Fiola?
Yes.
And when you say Tyler, you mean Tyler Rich?
Yes.
Okay. And they went down the road? Did you see them go down all the way down the road?
I saw them when they got pretty close, and then I had headed back inside.
Did you observe Tyler Rich or Ricky Fiola do anything when they were going down the road?
No.
Did you hear anything as to, not what people said, but did you hear anything, any argument or anything down the road from where you were?
No.
Okay. And you say that at some point in time you went back into the house?
Yeah.
And when you went back into the house, how did you enter Tyler's house?
Same way I left, through the basement door.
So you walked. Before you get back into the house, can you show me on States 49 where you were standing when the car finally went down the road?
Yeah, I kind of like around the mailbox, like poked out in the road a little bit, just saw the boys walking down there.
So my finger's pointed in the road here, just in front of the mailbox on 49. Is that about where you were standing?
Yeah, in that general area.
Okay. And when you went back, Your Honor, the record can reflect my finger's pointing to the front of the mailbox, just about maybe 5 feet into the road.
Court will note it, thank you.
And when you went back into Tyler Rich's house, did you walk up the driveway and go inside the Bilko doors, or did you go in the house a different way?
I took the same route.
Okay. And when you were back in the house, when you were back in Tyler Rich's house, how long would you say you were in Tyler Rich's house for at that time?
A few minutes.
A few minutes. And when you were back in Tyler Rich's house, were you consuming any alcohol?
No.
And how many people?
All right, coming up on Court TV, the jury hears about that terrifying moment that the fight escalated and a knife was pulled and James McGrath was stabbed. More testimony in the Preppy Party murder trial continues here on your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala, back now to Connecticut for the Preppy Party murder trial of Raul Valle. Valle returned to court today for day 2 of testimony as former prep school students recalled a chaotic night of violence in May of 2022. Now, many of those kids were 16, 17 years old at the time of the stabbing that left 3 students injured and 1 dead, and that was James McGrath. The victim to your right, his nickname was Jimmy, and the defendant's nickname was Lido. They're commonly referred to by the students as they testify. So let's go back into court now as an eyewitness describes the moment that a knife was pulled in the middle of a second fight.
How would you describe the scene of the fight? Was it chaotic?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of kids?
A lot of kids.
And when the defendant runs back into the fight, what, if anything, did you hear at that moment?
My buddy Charlie yells that he has a knife.
And when you heard Charlie yell that he has a knife, what, if anything, did you observe next?
I didn't observe, like from that point, it was a crowd of people and then it broke out in chaos. People started yelling, screaming. And then I had seen Jimmy and he had these white shorts on. They were stained completely red and I looked away and a bunch of people flooded to him to help him.
Picture Jimmy with the... States 57. Is that the outfit you recall Jimmy wearing the night of May 14th of 2022 with the white shorts?
Yes.
And when you saw Jimmy, withdrawn, when the defendant came back into the fight, did you observe a knife on him at that point?
I still had no eyes. I saw once he ran back from the car, I lost sight of him because of the crowd.
Okay, when you say there were a crowd, were there people in front of you where you were standing between the tree and the in that cement square in States 52?
Not many.
Majority was more into the grass, which is where he was. And I was like,
That's why I had the view I had of the car and the fight. And once he ran back towards the curb, he was not in my vision anymore.
Do you recall where Jimmy was at this moment? Did you see Jimmy?
I had known he was on the
far side of the interaction.
Okay. And when you heard Charlie yell, he's got a knife, you didn't observe the defendant with anything. What did you observe next after you heard that?
It erupted and everyone started screaming. Some people were crying, yelling, freaking out. Once I had noticed Jimmy, I was shocked. I was 16 years old. I didn't know what to do. And then I had noticed Charlie was freaking out because his brother Tommy had been stabbed, and Charlie was like my best friend at the time. So I had taken my hoodie off, gave it to him, was like, put it on his leg.
Let's stop there. So what did you observe first about Jimmy? You saw Jimmy first?
I noticed the red on his shorts. That was what I noticed.
Did you hear him say anything?
I did not.
Did he do anything? Did you see him do anything?
He fell to the ground.
Okay. So you saw red on the shorts and he fell to the ground? When you saw that happen, what did you do next?
I was moving towards him, and then like a couple people instantly grabbed onto him and were catering to him, and then I noticed Tommy, interacted with Charlie, gave him my hoodie.
Do you recall where Tommy was at that moment? If you don't, it's
He
okay.
was like in the middle of the yard.
Okay. And did you go up to Tommy?
I did.
And what did you observe about Tommy?
That he had been stabbed in the leg.
Okay. Do you recall if he had been stabbed more than once?
Yeah, I believe 3 or 4 times.
And when you saw that he was stabbed, what, if anything, did you do?
I had taken my hoodie off to give it. I gave it to Charlie first to give to, and told him to give it to Tommy to wrap his leg.
And when that happened, what did you do next?
I ran back inside to look for anything, towels, water. While I was like searching for things, I believe I was with Tanner. We had noticed Hines was sitting, and I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" And he said he was catching his breath, and he was hunched over with his hand on his left side, holding it, and then he moved his hand, and we had noticed that he was bleeding, and we took him out. We were, dude, like, come on, you got to get in the ambulance, you got to go, and then it kind of just all, once everyone started getting treated, it was all just like a blur.
Where was Ryan stabbed?
He was stabbed once, like right beneath his armpit, and like the lower, I don't even know what this area is, your lower side, and then right above his butt.
Okay. And do you recall where Tommy was stabbed?
In his thigh.
Do you recall if anybody else had been stabbed that night?
Faison had been caught in the arm, and obviously Jimmy.
Now, when you went inside to help Ryan, at some point in time, did you come back outside with towels and
I didn't find anything, but I just kept using my clothing.
So, did you or anybody call 911?
Yeah, multiple people did.
How long would you say, withdrawn, after, when you saw Jimmy fall, did you see the defendant and Tyler De Silva do anything?
The last I saw of them was them run to their car and drive off, and then they weren't in my mind anymore.
And where did they drive? Did they drive towards Adams or towards Farmhouse?
Towards Adams.
Okay. And when 911 was called, how long would you say it was between the time the fight, the end of the fight took place and the time that first responders arrived? Do you recall?
I don't recall specifically. I remember it taking a decent amount of time because a lot of people were complaining that the ambulance wasn't there fast enough.
And
while we were there,
when you were waiting for the first responders to arrive to the scene, were you doing anything at that moment? Were you rendering aid to anybody?
Not at that point. Once they came, they made us all back up. They took over, obviously, took care of everything. And at that point, I finally answered my mom because throughout the whole interaction, she was blowing up my phone from hearing the sirens all driving by. And I finally, answered her, talked to her.
Okay. And at some point in time, did your parents arrive at 43 Laurel Glen?
I don't recall if they picked me up or not.
Okay. Did you, at some point in time, first responders arrived, police, paramedics? Do you recall whether or not you talked to any police officers that night?
I believe I did.
And after that night, do you recall whether or not you met with police officers again in connection to this case?
I did.